Hello sim racers, welcome. Tonight live stream we are doing another circuit walk, and this time we're doing the circuit walk of Donington from the BritishGT DLC. I am as usual following your votes on our Discord channel, and so you have voted for Ulton Park that we did last Wednesday. Today we're going to do Donington, and next week we're going to do Snetterton, of course. So, how are you doing, chat? Everything is good, I hope, for all of you. And yeah, maybe if we have time and if we do the circuit walk in a decent amount of time and we don't go, very, very long with it, maybe I can show you something extra afterwards. Maybe I can show you how we can, use the SEB, the setup engineer bot from the Discord channel. We can put it into practice and see if we can improve with the handling of a car. All right, so chat is looking great and people are already joining on the stream. So thank you so much for that. And I guess, yeah, it's time to go into the circuit and start doing what we have to do with Donington. All right? Okay. All right, so single player, practice, Donington Park from BritishGT Championship, and I have chosen the Rex. And of course, what's the meaning of choosing the Gallardo, a Lamborghini, if you cannot make some very, very crazy color combination? Which actually reminds me a little bit of the latest announcement from Lamborghini for the Huracan Ultra Performante, whatever is the model that they haven't announced. And they got out with something crazy color combination like that, pretty much. Not bad, I must say. I was expecting even worse from from my bad skills of doing custom leverage, but it's not bad. I'm choosing this. Obviously, we don't care about this car during the circuit walk, but as I said, if we have time later on, then we might, try and see if we can make that car behave with the setup engineering bot from the Discord channel. We are not looking for outright performance, but we are trying and we will try to make a car handling nicely enough so that we can push. All right, so confirm Donington BritishGT start session. The chat is a little bit, I can see, oh my god, what is this? What car have you chosen to work with? But it's okay. We'll see if we can. I mean, it's the worst case scenario, right? All right, so save preset. And I want to exaggerate a little bit and see what we can do. So let's just drive a lap. It has an amazing V10 sound. Even probably more glorious than the actual Huracan car. Ah, listen to that. It's purple. I mean, all you have to do is put a very cold ambient temperature, go to the pits and wait. Oh, look, the airplane. Nice. Such an amazing track. Look at the airplane. Haha, amazing. Understeer city here. Yeah, Understeer everywhere. Absolutely poor man approach to the goal, but not the Lamborghini, because this is what they did on the latest Huracan super special, whatever, super fast. I don't remember. Ooh, the ABS is kicking in heavily. Oh my god, what an amazing sound. All right. So, here we are. Okay? Donington circuit walk. So we start from the start-finish line. Obviously, you're gonna end up very, very wide here to the right. And we will just go across the road to the left slowly through that pretty narrow, pretty short start-finish straight line. It's not so long, so there's not much speed to be gained. But anyway, we go to the left here. Now, here start the problems. Now, as you can see, T1 is on the right. So we have to stay as left as possible, okay? We have to stay as left as possible. Let me also switch to the desktop webcam so that you guys can also see the mouse. Let me check if everything works properly. Yes, okay. Right, and we have to stay as left as possible, and at the same point we also have the pit exit. So you need to be always extra careful if someone is already on the pits and maybe exiting, and obviously people exiting have to be extra careful if someone is approaching. But that's the way it is with Donington. There's nothing you can do about it, just you have to be aware and be careful. No webcam, sorry about that. We will fix the webcam right away. I think should be out in a minute. Desktop webcam, that should be correct. All right, should be correct now. Okay, let's move on. So what we're doing here is, as I said, staying as left as possible. Best drivers will even start to go even outside a bit of the road, so towards the left even more, because it's still asphalt here. Okay, and what is our first braking reference point? So the braking reference point is actually towards the end of this green asphalt rectangle, this painted green asphalt. Okay, and the better you get, the more you will go farther and farther. I would advise you to start braking, you know, at one line or two before the end of the green painted asphalt here. And as you get better and better and better, you can arrive and start braking right at the limit, okay, around here at the limit of the triangle. And the best of the drivers might even try tentative to go a little bit farther towards another reference point is the end of the grass here and the start of the sand trap. It is way too late, but you know, if you are low on fuel in qualifying, you might be able to arrive a little bit extra, especially if you are managing to go very wide and get as much of the track width as possible. So hard on the brakes, approaching the turn in. So while you are here, that the asphalt, you know, from the pit lane ends, this is the moment that you need to start rotating the car and entering the pits. Again, as usual, if you're experiencing understeer, this is the moment to start releasing. You need to modulate a lot the brakes to enter this turn. This turn is both faster than you think that you can enter and slower than initially turn in, because initially it's very fast turn in, but then it gets slower and slower and more narrow. So you really need to be to get in fast, but you need to modulate and trail brake up until the apex, which is a little bit later than here. So it seems that the apex is here, and you can get your inner wheels, your front inner wheels, on top of these curbs. By the way, the curbs at Donington are pretty low, so it's not a big problem. But the apex, the moment that you need to start accelerating, is a little bit later, because as you can see, the turn becomes narrower and keeps on turning and turning. So if you start accelerating sooner, you're gonna end up with lots of understeer, and you're gonna end up very wide and possibly out of the track. So wait from that green patch to go over you, and then start accelerating. It also pays, at least for me, to go gradually on the accelerator here and not instantly go on the accelerator as hard as you can, because that, if your setup is a little bit not so neutral, it might, raise the front and go wide into understeer. So gradually on the accelerator, and the car will slide on the outside. Curb is fine to take here, but be careful, because if you end way too much wide and onto the green ends abruptly over here, and you will find yourself with your outside wheels on the grass and on the sand, which is not good. So don't overdo it here, even if you go, oh, did you saw the shadow from the airplane? Haha, that's amazing. So if you go a little bit wide, get back in as soon as possible, right? On the curb, it's no problem, and then just accelerate. The downhill section here is amazing. It's one of those amazing fields, okay? Because it's all flowing downhill and then goes from right, double right, to the left, even more downhill. And if your car is properly set up, especially with a GT3 car, you shouldn't have any problems at all to take it flat out. But even while you're doing this, you will feel the car slightly sliding around, moving a little bit. It's not dangerous, but it's such a great feel. It's one of the most beautiful places of driving in any circuit. So it's really, really nice, this place here. Right, so as I said, keep the steering input as low as possible. So yes, you need to make the turn, but don't overdo it, because the more you turn and the more you provoke understeer, the more speed you're going to scrap with your tires, you're consuming your tires, and you are wasting acceleration and speed. So you're wasting time. So minimal steering inputs, and we're going downhill like this. Again, apex here, a little bit wide, and again, second apex here, all right? And now what you need to do, as you see, the next turn is practically blind. Yes, you can see here the two cones of sorts, but I assure you that those will disappear after the first lap. Someone will throw them down, so you won't be able to see them anymore, and you won't be able to check where the apex for the next turn is. So again, have a look here on the grass. When the grass has those patches here, this is the moment that you need to start rotating towards the other way. Don't overdo it. As you see, you don't need much steering wheel angle, and you need again to hit this apex over here. Now, if your car generates way too much understeer for whatever reason, don't overdo it and go, and force the car like this. It's even better, to just raise a little bit. It might happen with GT4 cars. GT3 cars have enough downforce to not do that. But, if it does it, don't overdo it. Maybe raise your foot for a minute. Let the front end go in and back on the throttle again. So like telegraph with the accelerator for a minute, because you don't really want to end up somewhere around here in understeer. If you end up somewhere around here in understeer, you're gonna have issues. You're gonna be like this, and you're gonna have issues to get back in line and brake properly for the next right-hander, which is very, very important. So what you want to do instead is to arrive somewhere here with enough space on the right hand outside, and try to get back in line like this, and somewhere around here, let me show you where your reference point is. Okay, I'm gonna get disqualified. All right, so you want to brake in a straight line to scrap down speed as fast as possible. Your reference point is initially right after the end of the outside curb, and then slowly move your reference point more and more and more. Once more, I advise you to not take as reference points the billboard here, because it is one of those collidable objects that might disappear. So you need to check again the grass patch over here. So first reference points, while you don't know the track yet, is a bit after the end of the curb, so the curb finishes here, you go a little bit forward, and then you start, braking. You get better and better and better, and the second reference point is this brighter grass patch over here. At first, you're gonna get this reference point because you will have the billboard, so you will train yourself to watch this patch. But again, do not brake at the billboard. Don't take the billboard as reference points, because after a while, it won't be here in the race. As usual, also do not take as reference point the darker, tire marks, because if it rains, or if it is the track is green, or if it's dark night, you won't see them. So your reference points won't be there. So this is how this is your reference point for braking. This brighter grass patch. There is also another one here, but it's probably a little bit too late. Go over that before this. Find out what's better works for you. But what you really need to know is to brake in a straight line as good as possible while going outside. So in diagonal again, you will end up outside here, and then you really want to release your brakes and go into turn in. You really don't want even to either modulate, but really very lightly, like you can see here my braking pressures. It really has to be a tiny bit of braking input, or completely release and go into the turn. Why is that? As you can see, this turn is really downhill. Okay, so if you go too much on the brakes, you will have way too much load on the front tires, and you will end up with all this weight. You will end up in understeer. And you will scrub way too much speeds, and this is one of those turns that we need to bring as much speed inside as possible, because after that we have a long straight uphill. You will see it in a moment. So don't go too much braking, because you will end up in understeer. Don't go too much trail braking with a minimal braking force, because the rear end will be way too much light. And if you are using the trail brake and you're not used to it, you're going to have lots of oversteer. So, it's going to be a problem. My advice is, since you are still approaching this turn and maybe you don't have all the experience, brake very hard into the straight line. While you arrive here, initial turn in, okay, at the start of the turn in, release the brakes, go into the turning coasting as fast as you can. It will be perfect like this. You will find lots of lateral grip like that, because the car and the tires won't have any extra request for longitudinal grip. So all the grip available to the tires will be lateral, okay? And that will permit you to hit this apex right here with great rotation. Right on the apex, as soon as possible, you need to go on the accelerator, but you need to do it again gradually. As we said, if you go on the accelerator very violently, you're gonna end up with a lot of understeer, because the front end will raise and you won't have enough rotation, so you're gonna end up with a lot of understeer, especially on that turn, because as you can see, right on the apex, there is a dip, and then you go instantly uphill. Uphill means that while at the exact moment that you start accelerating, all the weight goes at the rear, the front end will become extremely lightweight, especially on mid-engine cars, and you are going to experience massive amounts of understeer at the exit of this turn. Once again, Donington, at the exit of this turn, it seems wide, but it's not, because again, the asphalt, the green patch here, ends abruptly, and again, later on, because you're gonna end somewhere around here, it's even narrower, and it ends again. So you need to go back into the asphalt as soon as possible. As I said before, this uphill section goes all the way up. It's a long section, it's all flat out, so even 1 meter sooner acceleration and 1 kilometer extra speed into that previous right-hander will bring you good gains for all the flat out section. It's not a straight, but it's all flat out section that follows. All right? Okay, so let's move ahead. This was one of the most wonderful places of Donington. I remember GTR 1 and GTR 2 that had Donington in, and this kind of bridge over here, I think it's water or something, it would continue over the asphalt, and on top of the bridge there was a scale model, I think, or a model, or even actually the car, I don't remember the name, but it was that car that had the top speed record back in the times, those cars that arrived almost at 1,000 kilometers per hour, and it was great to watch. Unfortunately, you know, safety reasons, they had to eliminate all that part that went over the circuit. And so we only have this part that ends before the asphalt. But, you know, it's still nice to look and to remember. So, you need to go as left as possible, and then, again, minimal steering input. This is all flat out. Hit the apex here, flat out, at the outside. And once again, once you are in the outside, you have to stay as right as possible, not on the curb possibly, but as right as possible, because you want to approach this turn again flat out. This turn, if you do it properly, is flat out. Yes, thank you, chat. That record speed car was the Thrust SSC, but that is the latest one, not that one that they had back in 2000. Anyway, I don't remember. So, flat out, again, measure your steering input, okay? If you turn too much, you will go into understeer. So measure your steering input and go flat out into the stern. And not only you want to go flat out, but you want to hit the apex on the curb here, all right? And once the curb finishes, you need to be quite on the left side and going straight. Because once the curb finishes and the asphalt here patch finishes, this is when you want to be completely straight, okay, and go hard on the brakes. So the end of this curb on the outside and on this asphalt patch, this is your reference point to start braking for the left-hander. All right? So we arrive over here, hard on the brakes, okay? Braking again a little bit diagonal, but don't go towards the turn. Like this, you want to end up, you know, your reference point for braking, you have to go straight towards the big billboard here, the big TV with the advertisement, right? So you want to go straight towards that advertisement over there. Braking, braking, braking. And once you are arriving close to the start of the curb here, this is where you want to start turning towards the turn. Now, this is another turn that you need to bring speed. I mean, all turns you need to bring more speed into, but into this one in particular, it's a little bit deceptive, and you might think that you need to downshift to second gear and go inside, you know, with high revs and, you know, try to accelerate, but in reality, you will be much faster, depending on the car, but usually with GT3 cars, you only need to downshift to third gear. Even if the revs are a little bit low, don't worry, go in coasting in third gear, okay? The third gear is a longer gear, and you are going to have, you know, lower revs, so the coasting won't be as severe, and that will permit you to rotate the car, have all the lateral grip, and have more speed inside the turn. So in you go, in third gear, on the apex, okay, once more those things won't be here anymore, but you want to, while you see the last bending of the curb and the end of the curb, you want to go on the accelerator in third gear once more, and you will notice that you have enough lateral grip to accelerate and to do that curve in quite a high speed. Again, you can end up wide here, and once more, Donington is the same thing. You need to get back into the asphalt before the green patch ends. Okay? Uphill we go. Right, so now this is a very particular turn, completely blind. You can't see anything. There is not even a good braking reference point, but I will give you the reference point as usual. It is on the right hand at the end of the guardrail, the orange pocket right here. Okay, so you go straight up, you go through the orange pocket here. This is it. Once you don't see the orange pocket, so wait for the orange pocket to disappear, this is where you're going to start braking. The better you get, the more you will see that you can, delay the braking even more and more here. Very, very tricky corner. You don't see it. There is no visibility. It's on the crest, but there are some tricks you can do on this turn to get into the turn even faster than what initially you think you're going to be able to do it. So at some point you will understand that, okay, I can, go more and more late in the braking zone and still make the turn. So what you need to do, brake hard, up the hill, and just on the crest, and as the curb finishes, okay, you need to turn in and try to cut this apex a lot. Your initial, your initial target should be to cut it over the grass. You will notice that because you are arriving fast enough and you are over the crest, the car practically almost, obviously it doesn't jump, but it does get lighter, and that makes the car slide towards the outside. So you're going to target the grass, but you will see that even though you're targeting the grass, the car will slide just the right amount to go over the curb and into this green patch. Now, depending on how you took the curb or the green patch or a little bit of the grass, the car might go over this apex without the minimum amount of, bouncing, which is going to be great because you will be able to accelerate a lot and exit the turn very nicely, or it will jump around. Jumping around will upset the car a little bit, but not by much, so it's easier than you think. The problem is that by jumping around, you will, depending how the car, the character of the car or how the car is set up, you will either experience a little bit of understeer, and that might, make you go wide here, and you might be, tentative with your accelerator, which will not be a good thing. Or you might experience some oversteer, which again will make, since we have a long flat out turn here, it will make the traction control intervene and it will make you lose time. So what you really want to do here is try to find the exact moment of accelerating, maybe go gradually on the accelerator, not very hard, and don't let the car either go too wide in understeer or too much in oversteer. Work with your steering wheel, smooth on the pedal, work with the steering wheel in order to keep either the front tires or the rear tires with good grip, okay? Right, so why it is so important here? Because this bend is all flat out, and not only is flat out, but it's going to take us to the long back straight. This is the longest straight of the circuit. It's a very long back straight. It's even in a little bit of a downhill, and even more so after the midway crest. So every kilometer per hour faster on the apex, or every meter sooner on the accelerator on the right-hander before us, it's going to be very, very important for the lap time during this long straight. And with this long straight, we are practically at the mid of our circuit walk. So let's take a little bit of time and watch the chat and see what you guys are saying about it, right? Okay, so how are you doing, guys? Let me have it. How is things? I've lost a little bit of chat because I was, a little bit focused on explaining you how to do this difficult circuit. Is our kind noodle still racing today? No questions, that's nice. Thank you, everybody. Donington is very difficult, very technical. It's easy, you know, because in the end, those I mean, it's not very straight. I mean, the turns seem straightforward, but it has so many technical sectors that it's really difficult to go fast. Right. I'm good, Stefano. Oh, nice beer. Well done. Perfect thing. Friday night, a little bit of beer. It's always a good thing. Nice. Thank you, Stalker. Very, very glad to be able to help you. Oh, come on, Peroni and Moretti. Those beers suck. I mean, honestly, honestly, it's one of those things that I've never understood. I mean, you can see people outside of Italy, and they're like, "Oh, Peroni is such an amazing beer." It's like, which, by the way, says nothing because nowadays, beer is made. I mean, it has the brand, but it's made from some kind of brewery locally, you know, for keeping the costs down. I can give you an amazing example. I love when I went to Prague, Republic of Czech. I loved Staropramen. Staropramen for me is one of the best beers ever. Amazing beer. It's easy. It's good. It's not a particularly, you know, complex beer like the Belgian beers. But when it's, you know, it's hot in the summer and you want something to relax, you can drink liters of Staropramen. It's amazing. So we have a beer here that is imported from Japan, from all the sushi, you know, Asian restaurants, which is called Asahi, I think. Which, in theory, it's you know, Japanese, and that beer actually, you know, I've tasted it and it goes like, wait a minute, that you know, flavor is incredibly similar to something I know, and yes, it's Staropramen, you know, actually, so that's my beer now, so I get this. And one day, you know, I was watching the beer. It's so good. So I was watching the ingredients, and you know, and I see that it's produced from a brewery in Republic of Czech. And that was I thought like, so it is a Staropramen actually, you know. It was actually, and I got documented a little bit, and it was actually Staropramen. And then last year. More or less at the start. No, it was 2019. 2019, end of 2019. I got again that Asahi beer, and I was like, great beer. What the fuck is that? And I didn't like it. What happened? So I'm having a look, and why? It should be the same. And I see produced in Italy from whoever brewery, and that's it. I mean, the taste of beer. It's not on, unfortunately, it's not on the label. Yeah, it might be similar, but in the end, you know, they just start a big label start producing the beer locally, and you lose. I mean, the water is very important for beer, and you lose all the specific and particular flavor that might have. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, Nicholas, I perfectly agree with you. Perfectly agree with you. And also with NC Francis Scanner is amazing for summer. All right. I mean, again, you have to excuse me. In terms of beer, I'm not good. For me, beer is, I'm thirsty. It's summer. I need a big, glass of beer, and I love it. But I'm not so knowledgeable. I know that many of you probably will say, well, what the fuck are you saying, Aris? There are so many better beers out there. In Italy, you don't, I mean, in my experience, except if you know how to search for, small local breweries, which I'm not doing, in Italy you learn about wine. Wine, I think Italy is one of the best countries in the world for wine, not just for the quality, which is exceptional, but especially for cost to quality ratio. Wine in Italy is extremely cheap for the quality that you get. I mean, I've been around, Europe, and I had the opportunity to go also to America, California, to get similar wines that here in Italy you get on the supermarket and stuff like that. You have to pay something like 20 euros or 30 euros, and here in Italy, with 7 euros you get, or 10 euros you get top class wine, amazing. And if you go higher, it's unbelievable, the quality. So in terms of cost quality, Italy is amazing. So you learn, if you like that kind of drink, you learn about wines. Beer, not so much. So my taste of beer is simplistic, let's say. Portugal also has very good wine, yes. Germany is getting better and better, but it costs more to get to the same level. All right, so any questions, guys, about Donington, except of the wine tasting and beer tasting discussion? No? All good? Nice. Of course, yes, of course we think about France when we talk about wine, but France, a little bit because of the fame, a little bit because of the amazing quality, it's costly. You need to go up with the price to say, okay, yes, I got a proper wine, in France. No, JD, track limits are practically the same. Nothing has changed, except, as we said, at Oulton Park and Snetterton, the white line is the track limit. Here at Donington, again, the curbs are still, track limit. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Italy in terms of nature, food, drinking, history, culture, if you want to find it, we are really very lucky. We have our own problems, but, It's fair. Suspension hardness and downforce. I would go high on both. Yeah, I would go, stiff suspension, low car, downforce. Yeah. No, I cannot teach you much about damper and setup because I still have to teach myself. If I'm not comfortable with what I know, I think I'm going to do a bad way of. I understand dampers, but not up to a point that I can make them simple and then explain them. So if you cannot make something simple and explain it, means that you do not understand it properly. And so I am, doubtful that I can really help you with dampers, especially because nowadays dampers are so difficult and so complex that we will end up, talking about rules of thumbs which simply do not apply anymore. I have made a playlist about dampers. It will teach you some of the things if you have a look at that. But other than that, I will have to think it really hard and prepare, you know, some videos and come prepared to explain dampers properly. Victor, we can arrange that, mate. Colleagues willing to do any colleagues willing to do educational videos about what? What do you mean, Martin? How do I have view settings adjusted? Default. Yes, I mean I think I have forward 45. View settings 45. Honestly, FOV. Yes, calculated FOV is correct and everything. Personally, I would get close to the calculated and then try to widening up a little bit so I have some visibility as much as I can before I start having issues, you know, understanding the uphills and the turns in the distance. Because obviously, the more you widen the FOV, the worse you understand the curvature of the turns. But, you know, I have a small monitor. If I had to make the FOV correct, then I would, you know, have a very, very limited window outside. And that isn't good either for racing. So, as usual, it's compromise. Once you have a compromise that you feel comfortable, then your brain slowly will learn to work like this. Hello, Huds. Victor, thank you so much, mate. I do intend to get back to Prague, so thank you. Καλησπέρα, Tony. Setups firstly should fit to the driver, but the driver has also to get faster. So if you see that the setup is faster, but you're not so comfortable, you need to try to go over that with a little bit of compromise. But that is already after you have become, you know, consistent with the setup. So the first step is setup should fit the driver, because if you cannot push, I mean, I've had faster setups, but I wasn't able to push them consistently, which in the end, in the race, made me slower. You need to learn your limits, you know. Thanks, Bunatix, for the invitation. We'll see, maybe in the future. Changes in the competizione system. I don't know about that. The setup is fine, more or less. I have been in Slovenia. Loved the. I only crossed it and stopped from eating, of course. I only crossed it with the car, and I loved the highway. It was, I mean, the nature is amazing. The highway is not straight; it goes through, you know. I mean, you know better than me. All those hills and everything. I loved it, and I would really like to go and, you know, explore it a little bit better. All right, so let's move on. So back to our circuit walk, and we are at the back straight of Donington. And obviously, slowly, we want to go across the road again and stay on the right hand. And it pays to go on the right hand a little bit sooner before, more or less, this hanger here, or whatever it is, because we need to be able to get close to the right hand of the road and stay in a straight line, because this hanger here is going to be our braking reference point. So we are going, as I said, as right to the road as possible, and as we move ahead, at some point we can see, depending on how and where you have your A-pillar, we will see the end of the hanger, and this end of the hanger just a little bit before or where completely disappears, the better you get, you know. So start maybe when the end of the hanger arrives at your A-pillar, start braking. The better you get and the faster you can go into the chicane that follows, then you can wait until the hanger wall here completely disappears. That's how late you can start braking here. So the end of the hanger, the wall, the end of the wall is it's relatively new, Matt. So the end of the wall here is your reference point for braking. All right. So braking, and we are arriving to this very, very nasty and particular chicane. And nasty because, as you can see, there are no reference points, there are no guardrails, there's nothing, so it gives you the opportunity to cut as much as possible, and you will need to cut in third gear, you know, go in third gear with a lot of speed, because if you do it properly, then you will be able, you know, to bring a lot of speed in there. Turn in sooner than you might anticipate, because you really want to place your tires here on the green spot. Let me show you from the outside so that you can understand. Okay, so you need your tires, your left tires, to go on the green spot here. This is where you want to be. This is where you want to be. Okay. Now, if you are there, it's gonna be fine. Okay. But they are a little bit severe here on this chicane. That's why they have also the tires. As you know, unfortunately, our technology does not permit us to get damage if you hit the tires. But what we did is that if you go over here and you touch the grass, okay, like this, boy, do I have bad news for you and your penalties. So do not, under any circumstances, do not touch the grass. Okay, go over the green asphalt here, Pats, but do not touch the grass, because 90% of the times you're gonna get a penalty. If you get on the asphalt, on the green patch here, and you do it properly, once you are, you're exiting here, you will see that you will find yourself able to approach the next part of the chicane without big issues. If, on the other hand, you don't go as much inside, and you take this first part of the chicane without hitting the apex, so you are a little bit wide, like this maybe, okay? If you stay like that, then this is bad news, because as you can see, you are going way too straight, and possibly you won't be able to approach the next part of the chicane properly, and you either going to be too fast and you won't be even able to turn around the chicane, and you will hit again the sand trap, and if you hit the sand trap, you will get penalty again, okay? Or you will be first to slow down as much as possible to be able to make the turn. So go inside to the green paths, hit the green paths, don't go on the grass, do it properly, and you will find yourself somewhere around here, and once you are here, you see you won't have any problems at all to simply go over the curb like this. Once more, it is possible to cut here as much as possible, as long as you keep your right hand tires on the green painted asphalt. If you go on the sand trap, penalty again. So this is how you have to do it. Cut as much as you can, Don't go on the grass or on the sand. Okay, this is how you approach this chicane. Be careful. On the exit, you will be already accelerating from the first apex here. You will be full throttle, but going over this part and cutting a lot will make your car jump around, and you know, jumping will upset your car, will upset the traction. You might experience oversteer, understeer. You know, the car will move around. So be careful how you approach it. Try to, at least when you are jumping, to have the steering wheel as straight as possible, and then turn again. You know, do some practice over that, but just keep in mind that the more upset you arrive into the last part of the chicane, the more problems you're going to have when the car will jump over the chicane. Okay? So, we go out. And we are arriving at the last two corners of the circuit. We stay on the left. Those corners are both hairpins, 180 degrees. They are both frustrating, let's say. Okay, so when to start braking for this corner? As usual, difficult to find once more the reference point, and once more we have to watch at the outside here. Again, we have this orange guardrail pocket. So this is a reference point. You will see also the grass here is a little bit wider, and there is a sign from tires here on the curb. As usual, stay careful. Don't trust the sign of the tire marks too much, even if it's over the curb. So start with the orange. You know, when you are arriving close to the orange here, start braking. The better you get, you can go a little bit farther, maybe use these clearer parts of grass. This is where you have to start braking. Brake as straight as possible, okay? And once you are arriving, once you are passed through this cylinder here, I don't know what it is, this cylinder here, once you go past through the cylinder, personally, I believe some, you know, some aliens will probably try a different kind of line. They will probably go straight and then get a later apex. I'm not sure it's gonna work. Okay, the camber of the road, and I can also tell you an anecdote about that. The camber of the road here, to me it seems that once you are over that cylinder, if you go a little bit inside sooner, okay, and keep on braking, you go a little bit inside sooner, the camber helps you to stay in, and once you are arriving on the curb, release the brakes and stay over the curb to help the car rotate. Now, anecdote here. In GTR 2, I believe, obviously there were no laser scan tracks. They were pretty good, GPS I think and everything, but they weren't laser scanned, and this turn was pretty much flat. And I remember the best drivers, it would pay to stay outside and made an even wider radius of the line, because it would give you a better acceleration. And I remember myself going into the apex and still not being as fast from, you know, faster drivers that would stay a little bit outside. As far as I have tried here the same, you know, trick and method, it doesn't work, because I believe that the camber of the road from the laser scan, you know, it forces you to stay very, very close on the apex here. You know, help the car rotate a little bit with the camber, with the curb, and then go on the accelerator again and exit the turn. Okay. So, exit, cross the road again, and go to the right. And that is the last turn of the circuit, which is particularly difficult. It's another hairpin. It's even narrower from the last hairpin. It's even more difficult, and it's also blind. So all the problems together. So what to do? First reference point for braking until you learn how to do it is the start of the curb. And as you get better and better and better, you will start braking closer to the end of the red stripes. Okay, so not always, and not with all the cars, not with all the conditions, you can brake at the end of the red stripes. So maybe, you know, start braking a little bit sooner, somewhere around there. But somewhere around here is the terminal, let's say, braking point, reference braking point for this turn. Brake straight. The moment the curb ends here, start going towards the turn. Don't wait too much, because as you can see, there is no camber at all at the outside of the turn. Okay, there is lots of camber towards the inside of the turn. So the moment the curb starts finishing, don't turn too much, because you're still away from the turn. So don't go like this, but slowly go into the diagonal, keep braking, go into the diagonal, and go in somewhat an early apex. Don't take the apex. Ideally, you want to stay, you don't want to go over this apex. Okay, that's not the apex. You want to stay a little bit wider, you know, so maybe practice and then watch your car from the outside a couple of times, because as you can see, it's not a perfect turn. You see, there is a turn here, then it goes straight, and then turns again, a little bit straight, and then turns again. Right? So it's very, very tricky, and it's blind. You cannot see anything at all. So stay over here. If you manage to do everything properly, this right here is the moment that you release the brakes, and you will see that, incredibly enough, the car will start, you know, closing in, and you will be able to take the apex around here. Once you're on the apex, on the throttle gradually, a little bit of patience, full throttle, and exit, and here you are again at the start-finish line straight. That is a lap with all the reference points of Donington. Great track, amazing, part of the British GT DLC, and what can I say, one of my favorite tracks. Really love it. Very, very technical. Really takes a lot of practice to nail every single turn better and better. All right? Cool. Okay, so let's see if there are any questions on the chat, and see how we're doing. Christopher, thanks. Christopher, all good. The chat said trivia. Exiting this corner, Nigel Mansell, one of my heroes, crashed into another two-seater Formula car in a demonstration. Of course he would. Why not? And Dex in the right. Longest lap ever at Donington. Yay! Cool. And Peg Herger says, yeah. All right, guys. I hope you liked it. I hope it was interesting. Let me know if you have any questions, any particular questions into this circuit. As you can see, there are plenty places to overtake at Donington. It's not easy, but there are places you can, of course, overtake at the two hairpins. You can try to overtake at the T1. You can try to overtake at this corner, which is T1. I don't know if you count them. Those are T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, before the T7. I don't remember the name. So, sorry. So, yes, there are places you can overtake. There are places when you can cross the lines. You can dive bomb. There's a lot of places to make very, very good racing at Donington. I don't know much about planes. Right, so let me show you an interesting. So did you know? Donington, yes, of course, we have the airport, and the airplanes are, landing on the airport and everything. But did you know that this clock here actually shows in real time the clock of the day in the game? So right now, at the top of the screen, you can see we are at 12 and 57 minutes, and the clock, of course, says 12 and 57 minutes. And if we wait for a minute or so, and we go into 58 minutes after a while, because it takes some time, clocks always maybe losing a couple of seconds, it will, change into 58. So let's see if we can see the clock. Yeah, I mean, it's no big deal, this kind of detail, but if you can do it, why not? We have to say that, as usual, Simone is doing an amazing job. We also, since last year, or even a little bit more, we have a new guy, that Giovanni. You saw the clock just went 1 minute extra. We have a new guy, Giovanni, that is helping Simone. He's a junior circuit artist. He's getting better and better and better, and he did most of the job, or a lot of job for the British GT. So those circuits are, the initial big work from Giovanni. So he's doing a great job, a great addition to the team. And I feel good to let you know about that. You are asking if we have done the car park behind the pitch building. The car park behind the pitch building. I don't know if you mean this one. Which one? This one, you mean? Let me know if this is what you mean. Simone always work. I mean, it's not that Simone stops with and is not working at all the circuits. Once Giovanni has made the buildings, then Simone has to put all together, the laser scan and everything. So yeah. So I'm not sure if this is the car park that you wanted to see. Possibly yes. The main one. Where is the main one? Maybe here? I don't know, because I've never been to Donington, honestly. I would really love to be here, but maybe this one is the main car park. Directly behind the garages. I don't know. I don't know. You let me know. But anyway, it's 1 o'clock, so let's have a look at the clock, if it's updated. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock. Whoops. And it's 1 o'clock. Yay, nice. The chopper is working as usual. Yeah, everything is here. British spectator, everyone should have a beer. Nope. No, they don't. I have to talk with Giovanni about that. No, I don't think we can really change a lot of things that the spectators do. So yeah. And of course, I mean, I won't even show you the airplane and the airport. I'm pretty sure everybody has already seen. No. We always have a couple of animated spectators. They're not a lot, because otherwise, the performance would go down. But there are always some here and there to make the public seem more, varied and animated some way. Guys, Dapeshi, you said the clock was the reason why the release was pushed back. Of course, yes, we laugh. I guess it's a joke. But I've seen that written also elsewhere. And the release of the British GT is not pushed back. Actually, it was earlier, because we always said that British GT is going to be released winter 2021, yearly 2021, and it should have been released, until the timeline was until March, for example. So it was released earlier practically. So I don't know why there is this saying around the community. Anyway, not that it matters. I guess. I mean, and it's nothing to do with your joke. I just wanted to say so. I don't know how come this. Maybe people thought that it should have been released at the end of 2020, but we never said that was the case. Something you can do with tires on the ride. When it's cold at this track, they get very cold and start graining. No, not really. I mean, you have to take things into perspective. When you see the tires that they are greenish, light green, or maybe azure, yes, it's not on the optimum temperature, but honestly, we're still talking something like 60 degrees Celsius. So you need to take these things into account. Again, as usual, sim racers focus too much on perfection. Racing is not perfection. It's better if you can, but if you don't, forget it. Don't watch that thing. Drive. And the graining, honestly, those tires don't grain too much because of the cold temperatures, which they are never cold. They grain too much because you are pushing the steering wheel way too much. So focus on the steering wheel. Don't focus that the number is not perfect. It's the same old story. Sim racers, going for the absolute perfection. Doesn't happen in reality. Not at all. But I get it. I mean, Tortellini, I was like that too. It got me, decades of experience to understand that there's no perfection in real life, and numbers, tires, pressures, everything goes around all the time, and they never remain static, and there's no way you can make them static. You can try to make them better, but at some point it's like, fuck it, drive it, all right, so it's 11 o'clock in the night, and I feel decently relaxed and not so tired, so let's get serious. All right, so let's try to do what was the initial plan. So I got this car to exaggerate a little bit the situation and show you. I would like to show you how you can use the Setup Engineer bot that you can find in my Discord channel to get a setup, so to help you make your setup better to your needs. Again, the Setup Engineering bot in the Discord channel is basic. It won't solve all your problems. It won't even solve at all your problems if you don't know what to ask them, what to ask the bot, and you won't know what to ask the bot if you're not consistent and you don't understand what the car does. So if you ask the wrong things at the bot, it will give you the wrong answers for your case. Also, it will not make you faster. Forget about it. possibly what it will help you to do is experiment with what it tells you and the numbers in the setup a little bit. And while you are experimenting, you might start to understand that, okay, I did this and that happened. Why? Because of that, So you will maybe start to understand better what all those numbers do to the behavior of the car. And hopefully it might even help you to make a setup that suits your needs and make the car handle better for you. Okay. But again, I mean, it's a stupid bot. It's mainly answers that I've put, specific commands that have specific answers. It's not smart at all. But the way you interact with that, it might give you, as I said, a meaning of what you're doing, and also very important, it might give you a method. That's the most important thing. A method to understand, okay, what I have to do into a turn, separate the turns in 3 pieces: turn in, apex, turn out, okay, exit. What do I feel from the car in each sector of the turn? This thing. Okay, let's go and ask the bot what I could do to change this thing on that sector. The bot will give you a list of things. You can start trying one by one and see what is more important, if it changes. Sometimes it won't change because, again, I remind you, those cars work into a window of operation. So the change that you did to your car, the bot might keep telling you, I don't know, go stiffer, 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 for example, and at some point you get results, but at some point you go out of the window of operation and the car gets worse. If you keep asking, if you go out of so you say, I have understeer, and the setup says, okay, the bot says, go, softer. Okay, so you go softer, softer, softer. You still have understeer, softer. At some point, you go out of the range of operation for that car, and even if you are softer, you get even more understeer. So the bot does not understand that. It doesn't know what is the window of operation. That's on you to understand that I was improving, and now I have even more understeer. Okay, back one step and try something different. We will find out all of that into this kind of demonstration that we will try to do. No, King, there is no hope for an in-game setup guide. Sorry. Καλησπέρα, RDG. Tomorrow we have 24 hours, not 2.4 hours, right? Or am I missing something? All right, so. Okay, so what we will try to do. I want to exaggerate the things, okay? So I will go with the safe setup. Just fix the pressures for a minute. Fischia, non faccio supporto. Se vuoi fare supporto, questo non è il momento giusto perché non saprei cosa risponderti. Dovrei andare sui forum o sul forum che c'è su tutti i canali ufficiali e chiedere là. Non credo che sia improponibile, so che ci sono problemi, però devi chiedere supporto là. Mi spiace. So Race Club International does the 24 hours. Yes, I remember that. And SimGrid does 2.4 hours. Wow. Wow. By the way, on let me get the exact hour because I don't have it. I don't remember. Okay, but I do remember that on Sunday morning. I will be commenting and responding, and I will have a short interview into live streaming of the 24 hours from the team, from the eSport team of Alex Fontana. They will be live streaming the whole event. I will let you know information about that on my channels, on my Discord channel, on Facebook, etc. And early in the morning, about 10 o'clock in the morning of Sunday, I will be. I have an invitation from them to their live stream. The eSport is also proprietary of the Corriere of Ticino, which is a newspaper, radio channel, and everything. So they will be, live streaming everything. I will try to let you know the links about that, and we will be talking a little bit about the race and how it's going and how the team is performing. Alex Fontana, you might remember, he's a great GT3 driver. He always helped us with great feedback on technical stuff of Assetto Corsa Competizione. So yeah, he also made an eSport team, and they will be racing the 24 Hours of Race Club International. No, there's so RDG asked if there's a difference in car data required for a given car in AC and ACC. No, there's not a real difference. The data was always that we required was always the same. We just have better algorithms to take care of all the data that we have now for ACC. Take care, Bob V. Thanks for being here. Right, so let's go on. Let's try this. So save setup, a couple of laps to understand what the car is doing, and also fix the pressures. Of course, as you know, this car is particular. It's not advanced. It's a very old car, so it has problems. Understeer is one of them, so I'm pretty sure we're going to experience a lot of understeer. Yeah, okay, all right. You can see here, I cannot even keep. Oh, understeer again. Lots of understeer everywhere. Oh, I mean here. Yeah, it has a lot of understeer. Well, we'll see if we can fix it and make it a little bit more neutral. Ooh, so much understeer here. It just won't turn in. You could also hear the ABS kicking a lot. Oh, again, wow. Lots of ABS kicking in. A lot of high-speed understeer. I need to lift my foot over there. Turn in understeer, exit understeer. Both in high speed and on the hairpins. I need to modulate a lot the brake pressure to make the car turn better. Pressures are coming up now, and that makes the car a little bit better. Well, the webcam is flashing still. That's disappointing because I did many things yesterday and today to try to fix that, and still happening. So there you go for a brand new webcam. Great. Now, one of the always important things that we always say, this car is understeer right now, but you can see how with driving you can still, cure quite a bit of the understeer problems. You see, I can rotate it with better trade braking and cure some of the understeer problems. So again, driving is the most important factor. Oops, this is how you do it. I couldn't help it here. Understeer. Just go straight. See how it jumps around. All right, so here are the pressures. It's pretty evident what is happening. So let's go back. First things first, obviously, fix the pressures a little bit. So let's go up by 5 here, and another 5 here, 4 maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, and at least 9 here. So 60, 26. Okay, and 26.3. Okay, great. Pressures should be good next time we go out, or at least more in the ballpark of what we want to achieve. Now let's go to our where is it here, to our Discord channel, and let's go to the Setup Engineer bot. We have pinned the commands here, so you can find the commands simply by going into the pin icon, or you can also write Setup Engineer question mark like this. So if you write Setup Engineer question mark, it should give you again the commands. Right, so what we need to do. I have understeer pretty much everywhere. Turn in, low speed, high speed, apex, exit. So, all right, so let's say setup understeer high speed entry. Let's see what it gives us. Setup understeer high speed entry. I need a space. Setup. You cannot edit. You need to write it again. So setup space understeer high speed entry. All right. So it says here 1 millimeter lower front right head, 1 click lower rear wing, 2 millimeters higher right head, and so on. Okay. I also have understeer in high speed apex and in high speed exit. So out of curiosity, it's always good to do one modification at a time. But because here we have understeer everywhere and it is severe, okay, let's have a look at what is happening on the other situation. So setup space understeer high speed apex, right? It goes apex. Yeah. High speed apex. And it says again 1 millimeter lower front right head, 1 click lower rear. So it's pretty much the same, at least on the first three. As I said, and as it says here, the solutions are placed from more influence to less influence. Okay, so because I have a severe understeer problem right now, I'm interested in the first 2 or 3 indications. So the first indication says 1 millimeter lower front right head, again 1 millimeter lower front head. What happens if I write setup understeer high speed exit? 1 millimeter lower front. So for all of these situations, the front end has to go lower. Okay, let's get back to the setup. Let's go to aerial, and we see that the front end is high enough, and we can go lower. Now, as I said, we have a severe situation. Normally, you should do one click, go out, try again. Okay, especially if you have the aggressive setup, which is more balanced usually. But here we have a severe situation I want to showcase, and because I know pretty much what is happening, I will go with 3 clicks. Okay, so I will make the exceptions to go with 3 clicks. We don't have the infinity time, so let's make the car drivable by, I don't know, midnight or at least 1 o'clock in the morning. So let's go by 3 clicks and then move on from there. Okay, so 3 clicks front end and see what happens. Worst case scenario, I would completely eliminate the understeer, and I will start having oversteer, which, okay, we know what to do. So I remind you, we did 3 clicks at the front right head because we practically took the initial advice, okay, the most influencing advice of Seb, of our setup engineering bot, for the understeers that we are experiencing both in entry, coasting on the apex, and exit. Okay, right. Let's go back and drive. All right, let's do a couple of laps to put the pressures. I can see already improving here. Still some understeer. It's still early. Let's see first what is going to happen with more correct pressures, but certainly I can feel the car, you know, going into the turn much better than before. Much better than before. So there is a substantial improvement with just 3 clicks, following exactly what the setup engineer bot told us to do. No, I think it's better to go from the aggressive, but if the aggressive is way too uncomfortable for you, try the setup and build from there. We are doing the much understeer here, low speed. We are doing the setup, the safe setup, because it is an extreme situation, especially with this car, and I want to show you if the setup engineer bot will be able to help us make a better setup, you know, even from the safe one. We might even arrive to a better setup than the aggressive, who knows? Hey, almost, yeah, flat out, look at that. I mean, it's evident that at high speed the car is much better. It's still safe, it still has a little bit of understeer, but it's much better than before. Look at this situation. Not bad at all. Well, you know, if the aggressive setup is oversteering for you, try it, explain to the setup engineer what's the problem, and it will probably give you the advice to, you know, go the opposite way. Hey, not bad. Hello, Linda. Welcome. Ooh, again, so much understeer at this very slow speed turn. The high end, the high speed is much better than before. Oh, again, look at this. Ooh, terrible. Better here. So in the medium to high speed sector, the car is better. There is still a little bit of understeer, you see here, but it is okay, I can deal with it. Yeah, you can see a little bit of understeer here. It's not terminal, completely terminal as before, but there is still present. Let's try to brake a little bit sooner for the next turn so that we don't go that wide. Terrible understeer, but at least we kept the car in place. All right. Pressures were a little bit too high, but certainly much improvement. So back to the garage, we can lower a little bit the pressures here. So let's go down by 2 and here 2. Okay, rear seems perfect. So okay, that's good. And let's explain again what we feel to the setup engineer bot. So I still feel understeer at high speed, not so much, but certainly understeer at high speed, and especially at the exit. Okay, not so much at the turn-in, but at the exit, I feel understeer. So you can even copy past here. Oops, not at the search, but here. Let's go down and understeer, high speed exit, and it still says 1 millimeter lower the front right head, 1 click lower rear wing right. So let's see how we are at the setup. Going to the arrow, we are getting close to the limit. So we have 57 millimeters front right head. We do 1 click, we are at 56, 55, 54 is the limit. So, okay, let's go down to 55. We still have, you know, not severe, but we still have understeer. Again, I repeat, I advise you to go 1 click at a time. You know, this is a extreme situation, so, and I know what I'm doing. I follow the recommendations of the setup engineer, but I take it a little bit extra, and I'm gonna do 2 clicks down to 55. I won't change anything else, and I will go to do some laps again and see if we have improved. So for now, I just taking care of the high speed situation. Seems even better for an extra bit of oversteer, but the tires are still cold, so I won't express yet myself on that oversteer over there. I don't feel lots of oversteer in turn-in, so the car feels quite stable. I have some oversteer in acceleration, but let's see once the tires will be, you know, up into temperature and pressure. You see on the jump over there, you need to be ready. I've started braking way sooner over there. Oh, again, so much understeer. But we will deal with that in a minute. Nice. Yeah, much response here. Not perfect again. Some understeer over there. And some understeer. Ooh, some understeer here. So it's not that the car really improved. It improved a little bit, but not by much. Maybe, you know, the front end is starting to go into... again, you see understeer here. Maybe the front end, the front splitter starts to stall because it goes too close to the ground and doesn't like it. Who knows? But certainly, I don't feel a massive improvement. On the contrary, if I keep on, you know, asking from the car to turn in, it gets even worse. Do another lap. Oh. I won't do speculations, Madsen. I will ask the setup engineer bot and see what it will tell me. So the car turned in, it's so-so. I still have some understeer. The car is getting better, definitely, but still not enjoyable. I still have to try harder with my driving style in order to, you know, take care of the problems of the car. This is terrible around here. All right. We're improving. The car improves, but still not there. So, what do I feel now? I still feel some understeer at high speed. I have this horrendous understeer turning at low speed. So, let's go back to the setup and see what we can do. Discord, engineer. Okay, so many people writing here. That's good. Okay, so setup understeer high speed exit. Again, it says, you know, lower front right head 1 millimeter. We've done that. We are at the limit almost. I don't want to do it again. So I'm at the limit. I don't want to do it again. What should I do? Second indication, 1 click lower rear wing and 2 millimeters higher rear head, for example. We can try those things here. Okay? So 1 click lower rear wing and maybe try 2 millimeters higher rear head. Let's do this and see what happens. Oops, sorry. Here. So current setup, I'll go down 1 click here and 2 clicks higher rear right head and see if the situation improved. Okay. Out again. Yes, of course, you're gonna need to do some laps, guys, but, you know, it's for the best. That's how you do it. And you're doing it with a method. You are not like, let's click that and see what happens. No. One step at a time, trying to understand, separating the turns in turn, apex, exit, and see what happens, and see if you are improving. a little bit of improvement. Let's see once the tire will go up in temperature. It even improved here a little bit. Still understeer at low speed turn in. I've completely missed the apex. That was my fault here. Let's see if the car improves into this downhill section. Oh yeah, it's better. You can see that even with my mistake, the delta starts to get lower. Yeah. Yeah, I was in second gear, not in third gear. You can see how the car follows the line and doesn't just close straight. Oh, so terrible here. We need to fix that. I think now it's time to start fixing those two low-speed hairpins. One more lap. Yeah, definitely better here. There is understeer still, but certainly manageable. And the car is faster, by no doubt. Too much oversteer here, that was my fault of driving, but in the end, not bad. Yeah, I've touched the grass, so the lap is not valid, but it's okay. Yeah, the Becky, we're getting better and better. Fast approaching 25,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Thank you so much, people. All right, so we are already in potential 29 lows, 29.1. So let's go back to the garage. And I would follow again. Now, we have understeer. It's not severe anymore, okay, at high speed. So instead of going, with more lower rear wing, I would go with 2 millimeters higher rear end. It's already the third selection, which means the influence will be there, but not as important. So I will just go, I will just go at the rear and put 79. Okay, and I think it would be nice. Now, I really want, it's enough is enough. We need to fix the low speed understeer at turn-in. Turn-in understeer is terrible. So back to our setup engineer, and let's write down and setup. What is setup? Understeer again, low speed entry, which is practically what the guy above us written. So what do we have here? Less front braking balance. This is one of the most important things to influence the turn-in understeer, which makes sense if you think about it. This is how you need to use the setup engineer board, right? So I'm braking and I'm turning in and the car simply just goes straight. Put braking balance at the rear. That will let off some of the longitudinal grip request from the front tires, and hopefully it will, recover some lateral grip on the front tires, because as you know, the tires cannot produce the same amount of maximum grip both in longitudinal and in lateral. You can only ask the maximum amount of grip in one sense. If you need both, you need to give up some of one and get some from the other. So if you are at maximum longitudinal grip and you need lateral, you need to lower the request for longitudinal grip so that you can gain more lateral grip, and vice versa, okay? Right, so less front braking balance, one click higher front bump stop range. Interesting, things here start to become interesting, okay? So let's do both of them, So let's go back to our setup here. It's 61, let's go down to 60. It's a little bit too much, okay, but luckily you can change the brake bias from inside the car and easily, go up and down and fix it if you are, if you have overdid it and instantly you have the rear end locking and going full oversteer problematic. So let's go down to 60 and let's go up by one click here into the bump stop range, okay? See what happens. All right, let's go there. So until now, I have done nothing to from my own, mind. I've done nothing. I'm taking my attention on, okay, what should I do on the setup? And my attention focuses on driving and what do I feel into three separate sectors of each turn. And the sectors should be turn in, apex, and exit, okay? So what I'm focusing right now is not, what values, what clicks should I do on the setup? I don't care, all right? I'm focusing exclusively on how I feel the car going into the turn, like this, apex, and exit. This is all I'm focusing, okay? So I'm acting as a real race driver. So the real race driver doesn't think of what values it should put into the setup. It does things, okay, I'm driving the car and I'm going into the turn that I feel, you see a little bit of oversteer here. I'm exiting the turn and I feel a little bit of something else. This is what you need to tell your engineer at the end of your laps. And another airplane goes to landing. This is the turn. Almost. We'll see. Still cold tires, so let's see in the next lap. Well, definitely better. Definitely better. Now, obviously, the more experts amongst you would say, yeah, Aris, come on, mate, you're doing the basics. I mean, what the fuck? Yeah, it's not for you guys. It's all for all the other people, and there are so many out there that don't know what to do with the setup. They need some help, or they simply, would like to learn how to behave and what to do with the setup. And I think, for starters, this is a pretty good, help. And once they learn how to do this, then they could start, maybe using the Motec or using the racing tools or whatever other tool that is way more advanced than this stupid engineer, but at least they will start to understand why they need to do changes, Look at that. Oh, that was nice. Finally, I got an apex without even thinking it. I just, you know, turned the wheel and it went. Oh, amazing. So I have now to start understanding and finding out what else bothers me, okay? Because the car, oh, look at this, that was amazing over here. So the car looks pretty nice, almost neutral. I have to find out what bothers me. Some understeer when I push it here. I'm trying to understand what I don't like to the car right now. I have this slight oversteer every time I go into the acceleration at the exit. See here, a little bit of oversteer. It's not that bad. I could make it, you know, the car could possibly be better if this wouldn't happening. Yeah, you can see over there again a little bit of power oversteer. Again here, ooh, a little bit more than needed. Too hot. That was, you need to understand always, was that a driver error or, you know, a setup error? And that was clearly a driver error over there. A lot of times are consistently at 29s now. Again, some power oversteer. Have to be very smooth on the accelerator, because if I go hard I get that power oversteer, which it doesn't help me. It's not bad, but it doesn't really help me, to be honest. You see it here, it doesn't help me. I'm losing time. You see the delta, how it goes down. Oh. And you can also hear the traction control engaging a lot, so I could lower the traction control, but then I would have even more oversteer at the exit. Okay, so let's see what we can do about that. Okay, let's see if we can improve a little bit. All right, so go back again, So what was our problem right now? The whole car behaves decently well, let's say. I had some problems with the power oversteer at the exit. So setup, how was it? Oversteer, low speed exit. Okay. Low to medium speed exit. Okay. So higher TC level. I don't want to do this because it's already engaging too much and it's going to make me even slower. And I want to be faster. So certainly higher TC level will fix that oversteer, but I don't want to get slower, you know. And the oversteer is not that big, so it doesn't really bother me a lot, but it would be nice if it wasn't there, okay? So that is very important because, as we know, the whole all the advice you get goes from more to less influence. So the first advice is a lot of influence, the second advice is a little bit less, and so on and so on. Honestly, I need not too much. I mean, I need a fine tuning, let's say. So instead of going from the first part of the advice, I will go from the bottom, because I need fine tuning, I need small changes. And the bottom says, okay, 1 click higher front bump stop, but I liked it because at high speed, that helped me having less understeer. So I wouldn't really like to go back to, less bump stop rate. So I would go probably with less preload. I would just, try the first fine tuning and see what happens. It might not help me at all, or it might solve me the problem, okay? So back into that, mechanical grip. I can say I have a lot of preload differential. So, okay, I will exaggerate now. Again, when you have so much preload differential, I won't advise you to go 1 click at a time. It would be difficult to understand, but don't overdo it as we're gonna do now. So go like 20, 30 clicks, 2-3 clicks at a time. So you can go from 150, you can go down to 120, try. You can go down to 90, try. Okay. We are going to do something more than that now. We are going to go down to 70 and see how it works. Again, because I don't want to do another 10 laps to find the solution. I know the solution that is going to work, but you get the idea, right? So you go down by 3-4 clicks on the preload if you see that it's too high, and see what happens. Okay. Again, preloading is fine tuning. So we have this. Let's go back and see what happens. Let's go. Cold tires, everything. Car turns pretty well now. Still some oversteer, but still again cold tires, so let's see. Hi Linda, take care. Still some understeer here. Tires are getting better, so didn't have so much oversteer over there. I was afraid to go on the accelerator because I was afraid that it would go into oversteer, but I had actually understeer. So something is changing over here. Let's see here. A little bit of oversteer, but controllable. Ciao, Linda. Oh, that turnover. Oh my God! This car, when it goes, it goes. Ooh. All right. Do I have lots of damage? No, not really. Okay, so we can continue. Now, since it seems almost controllable, let alone that error over there, we could even try, you know, to go a little bit down on the traction control to see what happens. So let's try something like 4 instead of 6 that we had. A little bit of oversteer. Not bad. I could go on with the same, you know, direction with the preload. Very nice on this high speed. Looks good. I've lost the apex. Lost the apex again. I could try a little bit extra rear brake bias. We did that before, so a little bit extra at the rear. Yeah, nice. Traction control seems good. All right, let's try to do a decent lap. Nice. Now the car is not easy, it's not an easy car, but it's much, much better than before, for sure. Oh, look at that. That was nice. We're going down to 28. Yeah, here we are, 28.9. Not a miraculous lap time, but you know we're not paying lots of attention. We started from the safe setup. We are doing exactly what the setup engineer bot is telling us to do, and we have 60 liters of fuel. It's hot, not bad. So we went down here to 59.4 something, and I still have a little bit of high speed downforce I would like to not have, and I still would like an even less preload, because that sensation was good, but now that I went down a little bit with the traction control at 4, it feels like I could go even less. So let's do 2 clicks here, which is exactly what the setup engineer told us. And at high speed, let's go back and ask again. So I have some high speed understeer. So setup, understeer, high speed exit mainly on the accelerator. We cannot do this because we are at the limit. We don't want to do this right now because I don't want the car to be. I need, fine tuning. So I don't want big influences. I need fine tuning. So we are doing less traction control. We are doing less preload at high speeds. Lower rear bump stop range. I don't want to do that. It's gonna be even. Well, we could do that. So okay, let's try this. Lower rear bump stop rates at 15, which seems like a strange thing, and we can try this. Why not? Setup engineer says to do it, so we'll do it. 15, 15. Oops, something like that, and keep this as low as possible. It says. What will happen? I don't know. Let's try it. Let's try it. Last lap. I won't do any more. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Let's see if this improves the situation. No, with the GT3s you don't really want to lower the brake power. I do it for the Maserati that has no ABS to help deal with it. But, ABS is good, so let it do its job. Ooh, that was a little bit of too much oversteer here. But again, I mean... Oh, oversteer. Cold tires, so let's wait. The bot is generic for GT3 cars. Some of the advice also works with GT4 cars, but maybe I need to, fine-tune it for GT4 cars in the near future. Yep, I'm driving the Rex, and even the Rex behaves. That's why we choose it. The Rex is really on the limit situation. Very strange car, but still we made the Rex behave properly, which is surprising. Oh, no understeer at all at high speed. Let's see here. Oh, that was interesting. A bit too much oversteer here. It is to be expected on that turn, but it depends on you. Can you handle it? Look at this. Oh, look at how it turns. So can you handle this thing, or is it too much for you? Alright, so pressure now should be almost good. Let's try to attack and see what happens. It is a little bit nervous. Yeah, some oversteer here. That wasn't good. No, lots of oversteer. All right, so I don't like it. I don't like it, okay? So we did something that the setup engineers told us, so we got down to 15 and we don't like it, all right? So what to do? What to do? So setup engineer, so we were here and he told us that. Now we have two possibilities. He told us to go down to 15. We could raise that and try 16, 17, 18, I don't know. Or, okay, we could do something different. We could do, since we want less influence than what we got, we don't want more, we want less influence, we could try the next one, which is lower on the list, you know, or even, you know, skip one and go even less. So one click lower front bump stop rate. We could try this, and we could even try less traction control, so which is even lower on the list. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get back to maximum here, and as we were before, we don't really have to change the bump stop rate, because if we are maximum, the suspension won't go on the bump stop rate, so we don't care about that. But if you insist, I will take it back to 500 just to be sure. So this is the situation as we were before, okay? And we want less, we want more fine tuning. So as we said, we are going to try not this anymore. It didn't work for us. We want less influence. We will skip that and we will go for even less influence, okay? So less influence, one click lower front bump stop rate, not range, rate. Be very careful. All right, so one stop less, and maybe we can try this time traction control 3 instead of 4. Here we go. Let's do a couple of luck. Okay, stop. So why is the 15 in particular the rear bump stop rates actually? It's not an exact number, but I do know that most of the cars at 15 bump stop range at the rear, they start to riding the bump stops when the speed is medium to high from, you know, the pressures they get. And you still get a little bit of extra suspension movement while you are still on the hairpins and you're not riding the bump stop. It is something that I know. It is something that you can check on the Motec. If you go on the Motec has a channel that tells you the suspension is on the bump stop or not on the bump stop. So you can go on the Motec and fine tune it. But since we're doing something, you know, simplistic for guys to understand, this is an advice that I feel safe to say, okay, put it on 15 and you should feel only on the high speed corners the influence of the bump stop. Well, tire pressures are down. Okay, let's see if we have improved our situation. Yes, tires are very cold. This car is so, once this car goes, it's so nervous. Oh, that was nice here. Yes, of course, everything we talk about right now is done in real life all the time. At least my job, amongst the other things, is to find out what aliens do with their setups, and if I find out that they do something strange to exploit the system, then it means we have a problem with the physics and I need to fix it, right? So you will never see tricks on the setup from my side that only work in simulation. Everything we do is always working in real life. The effects might not be exactly the same, so it might be more or less, but the main thing that you're doing is still going to work in real life. Whoa. Only at Monza was competitive. Everywhere else it wasn't competitive and they retired it practically. It didn't have enough balance and it didn't have enough downforce. But it had very good drag, very low drag, and at Monza it was able to do very high speeds. There isn't a bit of power oversteer with such a low traction control with this car, but I can still control it. Only out of the hairpins and some third gear. Otherwise, very nice. I got afraid. I shouldn't be afraid over there. Pretty good. Got afraid again. Ugh. My bad. So that low traction control, cannot say I'm very confident, so let's go back to 4. Much better. Oh yeah, I can go full throttle here. Nice. You see, even with the arrows, I'm getting down to with the delta. A little bit slow into that hairpin. I overdid it. But still, pretty satisfactory lap. And I'm sure we could, with a little bit of practice, we could go down to 28 mids. Oh, too much. Oh, the rift. Oh. All right. Okay. That wasn't bad, right? So we now have a setup that responds pretty well. You could go up and down with fine tuning. I would stay in 4 here, and I will put that to 59.6, and I would give you the setup. So I will save it right now for you guys so that you can try it. We started on one of the most difficult cars in one of the most technical circuits. Okay, so Lamborghini Gallardo Rex at Donington. Okay, and we tried the car starting from the safe setup, extremely understeery, slow setup, just to keep you on the road. And we just followed the advice of the race of the setup engineer bot. Now, never forget the most important part. The most important part is rubbish is in, as they said on the setup, rubbish out. The setup engineer bot can only give you decent advice, simplistic but decent advice, if you know how to analyze what is happening on your car. So again, separate the turns that you are taking, in so separate the turns in turning, under braking, apex, which you are coasting, and that permits you to understand if the car rotates or if goes wide somehow, and exit on power. And then with that information, separate the turns in high-speed turns or low-speed turns, and go and ask the engineer the exact situation that you are feeling. Okay, if you cannot describe what you're feeling in separated sectors of each turn, then it won't work. So you also have to understand, am I getting understeer because the car is understeery, or because I'm just, arriving way too fast on the turn and I'm stomping on the brakes like crazy and I'm turning the wheel like that and I'm understeering. No, the car doesn't understeering. The problem is in the middle. So always go, and before you do everything, just ask yourself, what is the problem? Sorry, problems. No, it won't get the. So what is the problem? And the bot, if it works, it will tell you that the problem is it doesn't work. The problem is always between the steering wheel and the racing seat. Once you know and you understand that, okay, my driving is pretty much consistent and proper, you have to do the correct questions to the bot. And once you do that, the bot will give you some answers, and then you have to interpret the answers. You have to know, is my problem big enough? All right, then I need to start, from the first part, the first advice in the list. Do I need fine tuning? Then I need to start from the bottom of the advice list. Okay, did I made an error? Okay. Go back, I didn't like this advice, go back and try something different. Don't let the advice there and try something on top of that. You're gonna confuse things, you're gonna mess up things. Go back one step and try again. All right? So, I hope that was interesting, guys. I hope you liked it, and I hope it can help you. Let me know. I'm open for questions if you have any. And yeah, wasn't that bad actually. And the car wasn't that bad either. Look at that. It's a little bit, a little strange monster. All right, how you doing, guys, at the chat? Why is that hairpin square? That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, come on, it's no, Noble did not help with livery, but it's a Gallardo. You have to be flamboyant, you know. A driving bot. Thanks, Robot Tom. Are you sure you're not the bot or a friend of the bot? Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. I'm glad that you liked it. And I would be more glad if you can put it to work and let us know in the Discord channel if, you know, you're asking the bot questions and the bot actually helps you, you know. Because, yeah, I showed you how to do things, but it also suits my driving style, it suits my knowledge around the car, so I hope that you guys be able to, you know, make the bot work for you. No, Wycan, sorry, there's no chance to make this in-game. Many reasons, we have been through that many times, so... It changes the game. That's true, Tortellini. If you go back a few sections, you can see tires setup camber. What do you mean by that? Not sure I understood that. Yeah, it's a sexy car, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if you happen to be into a race with, you know, old cars from 2018, Bentleys, old Nissans, it can be pretty well balanced out with those cars, and it could be very interesting, I think. So ask from your league admins to make, you know, a race with the older cars, the old Bentley from 2016, the old Nissan from 2017, maybe the Jaguar, the Gallardo. It could be, depending on the track, it would be a very nice and well balanced grid. I mean, well, yes, Kaiser. This car in particular likes to, you know, get the tires on the air, get the wheels on the air. On the replay, I look faster. Yes, it's when I'm driving that I'm slow. Pascal, no, I cannot tell you how much PSI can go up and down with different brake pads up and down. Because I don't know. In terms of, there's nothing scripted as usual inside Assetto Corsa, and it all changes dynamically. So it depends on so many factors. What is the outside temperature? What is the track temperature? Because I don't know if you guys remember, I have explained this many times, the brake ducts are low on the ground, so they get the air very close to the asphalt. And so they don't get the same temperature that you have on the ambient. So for example, right now we have 30 degrees Celsius air temperature, but we have 38, 39 degrees Celsius on the ground. The air that the brake ducts get is closer to that on the ground, so it will be something around 36, you know, because they get the air that is very close on the asphalt, which is hotter. If you have clouds, then the asphalt temperature is pretty much the same as the air temperature, and that changes on the air that the brake ducts get. If you have different brake ducts, then also your braking distance might change, or your braking pressure might change. So who knows how much the pressure of the tires is going to change if you just change the brake ducts. It's not, I cannot tell you, yeah, it's 0.5 psi. It might be 0.3 or it might be 0.7. Depends on so many factors. this car is difficult to drive because it has more than 60% at the rear end. It has different aerodynamics which are very much on the back of the car. It takes specific, setup settings to make it behave, and still doesn't have so much downforce as the modern GTR 3s. Evolution, development. Yes, Sam, we do simulate stall on the floor and wings, both in ride height. So if you go too close to the ground, the front splitter will stall, or the diffuser might stall, and both also in yaw. So if you go too sideways, the rear wing might start losing a lot of downforce because it doesn't get proper air anymore, or the diffuser might stall because you're going sideways, and so on. La differenza di pressione gomme tra GT3 e GT4, te la dico, ma potresti andare anche nel setup engineer e scrivere setup tire pressures, and there you have it. So hai la GT3 27,4 a 28 range, GT4 26,5 a 27,5 range. Why does no one really uses the Jaguar? Don't ask me. One of, especially at Monza, one of the best cars, together with the Rex. Nobody uses the Rex at Monza and still could win. I mean, nessun problema, Slacks. Benvenuto, tra l'altro. Ciao, Brian. Thank you, Voodoo Child. I won't be next week. I also have to do some jobs outside of the office, so I don't know if I have the time to, practice. I also want to finish the Snetterton circuit walk because I owe you, and it's good. They're the new tracks, so we have to do them. So I need to do that, and then afterwards. The 2 weeks later, I have a race for the Ferrari Sport event, special event with many VIPs. You will learn about that. It's on Assetto Corsa 1, so I need to do a couple of laps on Assetto Corsa. I forgot how to drive over there, so I don't know. But yeah, hopefully in the future I could join you and do some laps over there. Ja, zo Costandine. Snetterton is cool, yeah. Snetterton is pretty cool. It's a nice surprise, I have to say. The first laps I did was like, oh, because obviously it doesn't have any scenery at all. It's completely flat, It has those nasty curbs. And the first laps I did was like, oh my god, people are going to hate us for this track. And then you start to learn it, you do some races with AI or with the beta testers or whatever, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is a pretty amazing track. And it is actually a great surprise. It's still the scenery around, it's bland, it doesn't have anything, but in terms of driving, it's very cool, very cool. Yeah, exactly that, Dapeshi, exactly that. Yeah, Tortellini. Thank you, Joshi. You're welcome. Thank you so much for your nice words. M2 or not, they are both. They actually, all the British GT trucks are very technical, and sorry, And yeah, it takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of method, it takes a lot of how to say, you need really to try hard to get fast on those tracks. It's really difficult. Nico, I don't care, honestly. I mean, view settings for me is where we put the head of the driver, you know. Sorry, quick replay. Let me show you. So actually we are, you know, at the head of the driver. This is, oops. Our view settings are always like that. You see where the eyes are, they are here, F1. This is where we put it. I don't care to change it, honestly. It's all that stuff, you know, that you will hear everywhere around the groups and forums and everything and Discord servers. Now put the FOV like that and put the pitch like this and turn around and make it move or not make it. It's all bullshit, honestly. Because, again, I will repeat it, I'm not criticizing. I perfectly know what you're trying to do and what you are searching information to learn, you know. And you are certainly listening and reading all the other sim racers around that. If you put like that, it's much better and you'll be faster and you'll be safer and whatever. Simulation driving is not reality, which means that your brain has to understand a new language. Okay. The new language is that instead of having a proper 3D environment with G-forces, you have either a flat surface in front of you with faking graphics for 3D, all right? Or you have even the best case scenario VR, which still it's not the same. And in VR, you even have your brain understanding 3D, but you don't have any G-forces, or your ears inside for, you know, the balance starting to tell you what the fuck is that, and go fuck yourself and vomit, you know, and then you get used to it. Why you get used to all that? Because your brain learns a new language, okay? Learns to get feedback from different visual effects, from different audio effects, from everything. And the best way to learn a new language, as you know, is to go to the country and keep on practicing with that specific language. If you stay to your home and you learn one language this week, another language next week, a different language the other week, you won't learn either of them. How that translates. Why I'm doing this example? Because, as I said, your brain tries to learn a new language, so tries to understand how to deal with all those feedback that it gets, visual, audio, and steering. The more you stay on the country, so the more you keep the settings as they are, the faster and better your brain learns that language. And once the brain has learned the language, you can talk it, so you can drive and get faster. If you keep changing because someone gave you, you know, the advice of, yeah, if you go over here and, you know, you change the pitch like that or like this, I gained 1 second. You do that, your brain changed language, doesn't understand anymore, and you're not faster anymore, you know? Then you go back again to zero, and for your brain is a new language again, and still doesn't understand it, because you go forward and then backwards, you know? And it's like, where the fuck should I tell the foot to start braking, you know? Loses again, the muscle memory loses again the reference points and everything. So find something that you feel comfortable with, okay, that is close to whatever advice you, I mean, someone gave you an advice, you went away from the default settings, someone gave you an advice, and you see, okay, this is comfortable, not bad, I feel better, fine. Keep it. Do not fucking mess with it. Keep that thing. Let your brain understand it, learn it, and start talking with it, you know. Find something you're comfortable, do not change it. Don't go again back and hear someone else that says, oh no, you have to change the FOV in 30. It's even better. No, it's not. It's better for him. His brain learned that language, fine. You are comfortable with this, keep it on. Now, obviously, you might not doing, I don't know, competitive races, or you want to try something new. That's fine. You can try something new for one evening. No problems with that. Always try something new. I also like trying something new. Don't do it before a race. Don't do it, 1 week before a race. Do it when you are free. You have some free time. Do it for one evening. Try it. Does it feel instantly better for you? Stick to it. But stick to it for weeks and months. Does not feel better? Go instantly back and never look at it again. I hope it's clear. I hope I'm making it the whole argument easy to understand, and especially you understand what I mean by all that. Yeah, the values are the same. The position of the camera is not the same. Also, if you change the value, I think for one car, it keeps it different for that car, so you go back to another car and it gets the original values or the values that you have changed, because I think it saves the values you put from car to car. But when you start, default, it's the same values for all the car, and only the position of the camera, depending on where you are sitting on the car, this is the only thing that changes. Hey, that thing, Google. I hope you're safe, mate. And I believe that if you're online, probably you have electricity and everything. So take care of Texas, my friend. The Pesci, you can find, if you do some research on Google, you can find some old and cast websites from SRO or others, and you might find some basic information. If you also, do go on Google and simply search for, I don't know, Lamborghini Huracan GT3 specifically, you might find some basic information from the presentation of the cars in various websites. So you need to search around a little bit. Che differenza c'è tra GT3 e DTM? Dipende di che DTM parliamo. Se parliamo di DTM di un po' di tempo fa, la differenza era enorme, perché le DTM di qualche anno fa, dell'anno scorso penso, erano delle silhouette, praticamente delle macchine dei prototipi con lo stesso motore V8, penso, stesse caratteristiche tutte, con la carrozzeria completamente finta che assomigliava alla macchina di serie, ma sospensioni, telaio, eccetera eccetera erano macchine prototipi, non avevano niente a che fare. Le GT3 invece derivano direttamente dalle macchine di serie, con parecchie differenze. Fra le altre cose, il motore che eroga meno potenza, perché ci sono le restrizioni per non fare la potenza che hanno le macchine stradali, che è ancora più forte. Adesso però, dall'anno prossimo, se non sbaglio, le DTM faranno correre le GT3 probabilmente con un po' di potenza extra. Penso che avranno 600 cavalli invece che 500. Pedro, if you need, you probably need to configure for every car differently, but I think the FOV is fixed for all of them. I think the FOV is, if you put 45, if you put 50 here, it's the same for all the cars. I think what difference is the height, lateral distance, that thing is different, I think. But again, I don't care, I just leave it as it is, so I have no idea. Sorry, Sissy Driver. Right, Master. Usually we do the SRO series, and Porsche Cup is not in the SRO series. There was just one car racing Porsche Cup in 2018 Spa, because they wanted to arrive to 70 cars for the 70 years. So they asked from even Porsche Cup teams to get in and race, and that's why it is in there. But Stamatis, you can check this if you have a video from the other driver, or even better, if you have a telemetry file. You can compare in Motec their lap with your lap and see where you're where you are losing time. Miguel, thanks, mate, but we're almost done. No, no update. Again, guys, we are doing only the SRO car, so the same. It's not the Super Trofeo. It's the it's the Super Trofeo, not the Super Trofeo. The same as with the Porsche Cup in 2018. Spa was celebrating 70 years of 24 hours, and they wanted to arrive to 70 cars on the grid. They arrived at 68, I think, unfortunately. So because they couldn't arrive at 70 cars with the GT3 cars, they asked also from some, single makers cars to participate, and some Porsche Cup teams and Super Trofeo team got invited, and they participated, and that's why we have them in there. Ah, Luna Rosa, vero. Uh, no comment about it. I warning sulla classifica piloti, in che senso? I warning per i tagli? Boh. No odds at all. Actually, it's a drink game here. Solo for Nirina. Every time someone mentions Nordschleife, because I can assure you we get the same question thousands of times every day. We have to drink, so drink, everybody. Thank you, nobody here. Yeah, the guys, our 3D artists really do some amazing jobs. Sarebbe bello, sarebbe anche un po'. Vabbè, comunque. Qualcuno team try. All right, guys. So it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I think we did enough stuff for today. As usual, I will be cutting the circuit walk. I will be cutting also and editing the setup engineer bot explanation and small parts here and there. And hopefully I will be able to start posting those smaller videos from tomorrow and through the next week. Next video will be, I believe, a Snetterton circuit walk. I don't know exactly when. Hopefully midweek. But as usual, I will post it to my Discord channel. and servers, so you are welcome to join. We are well over 3,000 users right now. The YouTube channel is over 24,000 users. It's keep on growing continuously by the thousands every month, so it is amazing. Thank you. Thank you, GovNet, mate. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. And yeah, what can I say? As always so many of you joining, even for long explanations like tonight's video. So thank you so much for supporting me, guys, and joining the live streams. I really enjoyed them. And yeah, see you on the next live stream or on every day on the Discord server. Take care. Cheers. Bye. Oh my God, I cannot change. Where is it? Stream ending. I found it.